On the way here to create this video, I got completely nervous and I'm not sure why, honestly. I have been on this planet for almost 58 years, and you would think that it would be easy for me to share my story. I'm a little nervous about being vulnerable today. What's funny and ironic is that I almost always ask my clients to be vulnerable. Sitting in this seat, preparing to share my personal story makes me feel vulnerable and it makes me feel a little nervous. But I also know that that's okay and that I'll survive it. If you have some judgments about my personal story, that's for you to carry, not for me to worry about. So that's coming from your perception of your belief systems and values, how you see the world and how you see me. And hopefully today I express the true, vulnerable Lynn Sparks today. Let's start with that. Let's start with the last name. The last name actually is a married name. And I didn't give it up because so many of my clients knew me by that name. It really speaks to my personality, so I kind of like it. My previous last name is okay, but it's boring. It's honestly boring. Let me share a little story. I am holding on to a love rock, which helps me to stay grounded when I'm on a talk. And then I'm also holding a coin, an old I think it was 1923 British coin. And I found this, not going to believe this story. I found this standing under a tree during a rainstorm on the Big Island of Hawaii. Just ran for cover, standing under a tree, looked down in the sand, and there it was. Unbelievable. It was like this little gift I was given. It was remarkable. And I thought, why now? Why this moment? Why did I find this coin? The truth is, at the time, I was in a really bad relationship. It was not good. It wasn't healthy. And we both had our part in that, right? And I was there under that tree with that person. The remainder of that trip continued to keep me in awe and inspiration for the future and acknowledgement that I had put myself in another relation that wasn't healthy. And it was requiring me to be accountable to my own actions and what I was manifesting into my life, what type of relationships, what type of people I was surrounding myself with. So I said this was going to get personal. Let's take it all the way back to Lynn's childhood. Okay. And I hope I don't bore you too much, but I'm sure that some of you can relate. I grew up in a very unhealthy environment. I had parents that were not very loving towards each other or towards their children. In fact, they were somewhat abusive. So that was my upbringing. Essentially, I got to absorb that and create belief systems about relationships and marriage, witnessing this as a child. And that's really when we create those belief systems that, hey, this is what marriage looks like. This is what a relationship between a man and woman looks like. Fast forward and into my later teens, when I started really seriously dating, and early 20s. Actually, to be honest, all the way through my 30s. And I would say that I had some pretty rough relationships. And it was because I had those belief systems that were programmed And I just projected that into the world, into my own relationships and my life. And it wasn't until I was in my early 40s that I started to shift things, shift my mindset, and understand that everything that I had believed and projected onto others, into my life, was my responsibility. And it was coming from my thoughts and my emotions, and then ultimately, obviously, my actions. And, I'm sure some of you can relate that that looks something like, I am so desperate for love in my life, I'll take anything. Someone love bombs me, I'll take it. And then it turns out they're a narcissist. Not always necessarily every relationship was like that, but it just didn't translate into healthy relationships because I wasn't healthy. I wasn't healed. And so when I'm talking to clients and I'm in the connection circle within Telos, I talk a lot about self-reflection, self-love, and how to really take care of yourself, your thoughts, your belief systems, your core values, how to identify all of that before you jump into a relationship or manifest something into your life. Now that I am almost 58, I finally got it. It took a minute. But hey, I look back on all of those relationships as truly a gift. I've had 3 failed marriages. Not proud of that. I mean, every time I married, I always thought it was forever. And most of us think that, right? And just the universe had something else in mind. And I had a lot of growing to do. And what ultimately came of those relationships was my evolution, my acknowledgement, and many, many gifts that these individuals gave to me and these relationships gave to me. And that was the empowerment to look within and to evolve into someone that could enter into a healthy relationship. About a year and a half ago, I took a break from dating, and I had just recovered from my last divorce, and I had to heal my heart and really go deep within and really understand how that relationship ended and why, because I felt going into it that I was already so far into my evolution of being a healthy, loving individual and able to translate all of that into a healthy relationship. And I had to figure out why did this one end? And it really turned out to be a beautiful gift. All of these relationships that ended was a gift to me to reflect on what I was projecting out into the world and how I needed to take care of myself and my inner world and learn to love myself, truly, truly love myself. And I've said this before in talks that I ask clients often to look in the mirror and say, I love you to yourself. And majority struggle so hard with that. And I get it because I did too. I'm not saying that I'm perfect and that everything I see about myself is perfect. I still see some of those flaws and those things that I need to work on. But I truly, truly love who I am and who I've become. And the journey within Telos began again about a year and a half ago. I was in at a crossroads, and I had ended one position. I decided it wasn't right for me. I was coaching teams for a business, and I just felt it wasn't right for me. And I was a little lost and wasn't sure which direction I wanted to go. Did I want to take on clients again? I did health coaching, wellness coaching, life coaching, psychology major. I've got, all these certifications that I could use, hypnotherapy. But that thought was a little daunting because I had done it, and the coaching market is so saturated, and I really wanted to do something that I felt so passionate about, and that I wanted to impart some gifts onto others that were willing to hear me out. And the one direction that I had been going into was relationship coaching. And I have just been so passionate about it. And I think it's because I have been there. I've been through the heartaches and the breakups and the divorces. And I've also been through the beautiful parts of loving someone and enjoying their company and having a blast. So I just felt this calling. And one day I just had this download. It was unbelievable. I was actually cleaning my house and I had this sudden download, and the word telos came to me. Now, I had never really dove into philosophy too much. I'm a psych major, but I've always been interested, of course. I'm definitely into spirituality and spiritual growth and all of that. I meditate every day, but philosophy never really got into it, but I'm into it now because I got this download that I needed to create something different, a platform for singles that wanted to meet high quality singles, other singles that are looking for people that are more on a spiritual path versus the online dating scene where you're kind of swiping through and it's very shallow and you're just looking at a photo and deciding if you're physically attracted. The other challenge I think to that is that it's a lot of algorithms and fake profiles and things of that nature, but I won't go into that on this video. This was more about me and my journey. And so I did create Telos. I created a platform, and it's amazing. On that platform, we have a circle of people that we call the connection circle because we are about connecting with people. And I think for singles, it's so challenging. It can feel like a lonely path. And we don't want that for people. I really want people to connect in a way that allows for you to make a connection that is potentially a lifetime friendship. And Telos really comes from an Aristotle concept about the purpose of life, and that there's a beginning, a middle, and an end, and a purpose within all of that. So I'll go into more about the Telos concepts and Aristotle in another video. It's so intriguing, and he was so spot on about our life purpose and this soulful connection that we make along the way. And I just invite you to consider, what was your beginning like? Like, my beginning wasn't so great with my parents. And then what was the middle part of your life like? Were you working on evolving? Are you there right now? Are you working on creating better relationships, better connections? How are you doing that? I know for me, it's taken a lot of self-reflection, a lot of meditation, and gratitude for life as it is today. And then, how do you want to end it? How do you want your life to look like in the end? How do you want to look back on your life and say, yes, I arrived in this space of self-love and happiness and joy, whether it was, on a journey with another person, by myself, or with a tribe. It doesn't matter, as long as in the end you get to look back and really enjoy those memories and have a heart full of love. And when you move on, that love just expands and connects with everyone else. So I hope you enjoyed a little history on my personal journey. There will be more videos on that, I'm sure, because I have had clients ask me to share more about the ups and downs of the relationship with self, relationship with friends, and we'll get more into that in later videos. In the meantime, pour some love into it and live Telos. Thanks for listening.